Hey guys, I'm going to go over how I set up my Vevor press. Or one of the things that I do anyway is adjust these clamp heads. These things have some slotted holes in them here with these bolts, and you can adjust these clamps up and down to get your screen level with the pallet. You know, if you drop it down and this off contact screw is all the way down and you're hitting this, then you find that the screen won't go low enough. It's most likely that your clamp head just needs to go down some more. I actually shimmed my pallet up a little bit just because that's what I wanted to do, so I could be more in the middle of my adjustment here, but that may not even be necessary to shim your pallet because you can drop these clamps down quite a bit. But more importantly, you need to have all of the clamps exactly the same, all four, or else you won't be able to do a 4-color registration very well. Let me show you how I set this up. I've got these two set up pretty well. These two I still need to set up, so I'm going to show you how I do that. Your off contact bolt, let that loose. I'm going to take a piece of plywood. I'm going to put it here on my pallet because I'm happy with my pallet adjustment. I don't want to loosen this again right now. I've got it pretty level. I'm going to use some good clamps here. Clamp this piece of plywood down so it doesn't move. Now this head, I have already adjusted these two, like I say. So I'm going to put this off contact bolt just touching this arm when this touches the plywood, okay? This one's already set up. So now that's where I want it. I need to set this one up. So without moving this, I'm going to drop this down. Right now my clamp head is touching the plywood, but not the off contact bolt, so I know that this is incorrect. Sorry if this is confusing, but maybe you'll get it once you watch what I'm going to do here. You just want to loosen these bolts. And when you first set this up, you want to do all four like this. Now that this clamp head is loose, I can make sure that this arm touches my off contact bolt. And then I want to make sure that this clamp is sitting level on this plywood. No gaps from one side to the other. I had a little bit of a gap on this side. With this arm still touching the off contact bolt and putting a little pressure here, now I see that this is level with that board. I'm going to carefully tighten these so that it doesn't move. Sometimes it'll move slightly when you're tightening it, and you've got to go back and forth and do it again and again until you get it just like you want it. For the sake of demonstration, I'm not going to, be too critical, but that's pretty level with the board now. My arm is touching my off contact bolt. So now I'm going to come around to this guy here and do the same thing without moving this off contact bolt. I'm going to let it down. It's pretty close, but to be sure, loosen this clamp head. Make sure that your arm is touching the off contact bolt here. And that clamp head is loose. Make sure it's nice and level with the board. And tighten it down. Now your screens should be the same between these two pallets, or these two clamp heads, I'm sorry. I'm new. I'm going to beginner to all of this, so bear with me. That looks pretty good. So now I know that if this clamp head, when I have a screen in here, if this is level with my palette, then so is this one, because they're adjusted the same. And when you're doing this, you want to go through and do all four like this. Yesterday I had already set up these two, so what I showed you, now I have all four of mine equally positioned. So now when you take this off, your off contact here is going to be a little high, as I had this set up to lay down on the board. And you're going to want to do this with your screen in the clamp, of course, but you should never let the arm sit all the way on here. Okay, you want it just a little bit off of there at least with your bolt here. Okay, and if you're like that and you still have a screen way up off of your head, then either this needs to go lower or your palette needs to go higher. Now in my case, I like to set it up like this, so I shimmed my palette up about 1/4 of an inch with some steel between the arm that the palette goes on and the little clamp that it has underneath here. So now I should be nice and level with all four. It should look very similar. That's how I do it.